Giro here for Umbra Games with the review of Burnout Paradise Remastered, one of the only EA releases to have been remastered for this console generation so far, developed by Criterion Games, and released on March 16, 2018. The original game was released on PS3 and 360 January 22nd of 2008. I think I've played every console Burnout game, but somehow never got around to the original version of Burnout Paradise, so I was pretty happy to jump on board with this re-release. Burnout Paradise is an open-world driving game that takes place in Paradise City. I specified driving because while there is some racing, it actually is maybe a quarter to a third of the actual events. You begin the game in a junkyard with one car option, and are then introduced to various features provided in the game. The events can be found across the city's intersections, started by spinning your tires, holding L2 to brake, and R2 to accelerate. So one thing that's made the Burnout series unique is its emphasis on taking out the competition. The only weapon you have is your vehicle, so being careful about how you ram another driver is key. When you take someone out, or when you yourself are wrecked, you're treated to a slow motion replay of what happened, with some pretty fun crash animations as car frames fold and glass shatters. Cars will continue to show damage, but you as the player often have, it seemed, 4 wrecks for yourself before you would fail an event, or you can visit a repair shop drive-through on the road for an instant fix-up. I will say the slow motion replay did take away from the driving at times, as the game will keep you and the other racers moving, and if you were getting ready to make a turn when an opponent ended up crashing, the game just assumes it knows the route you wanted to take, and you may have lost that good line you had on the next opponent, or sometimes even be positioned for a crash while you were watching that opponent get good and smashed. One other thing that makes this Burnout game stand out from others in the series, as well as other open-world racing titles when this game came out, were that there are no preset tracks or routes. The game map has a destination for 8 points of the compass: north, northeast, east, and so on. So while you begin the 120 events from the various intersections of Paradise City, how you get to your destination is completely up to you. You have a compass at the top of the screen that will show you the direction of your destination, and also a mini-map in the bottom right corner to help out with some of the navigation. When I first began playing though, I'd often hit the touchpad to look at the full city map to help pick a route. I'm gonna guess they didn't want you to do this much because the controls on that map are so frustrating. Use the right stick to free roam the map, but if you get too close to an icon there, it will pull your cursor over and stick to it. You zoom out with the triangle button, which you have to hold to keep it zoomed out. When you let it go, it rubber bands back in. So I don't know about the rest of you, but I use my right thumb on the right stick as well as to hit triangle, so sometimes trying to navigate around that map just was annoying. There are tons of shortcuts to be found throughout Paradise City. Most are marked by yellow signs, and when you hit them they're called smash points, which happen to be a collectible in the game, for a total of 400 in all. Although a point often marks each side of the shortcut, meaning there are just 200 shortcuts, which is still an impressive number. In addition to the normal car things like e-brakes, Burnout Paradise features a boost meter that is filled by doing daring things like driving in oncoming traffic, performing drifting turns, or taking out other racers. Most cars, with the exception of the speed category, allow you to burn your boost whenever you want. The speed variety only lets you burn it when your meter is completely full, but you have the added bonus of filling up almost entirely again if you manage to do a burnout through the entire bar without letting go. Game progression occurs by completing events, where wins go as marks on your license. You start with a D license with the goal of hitting a burnout license for the main game, and an ultimate license if you need more post-game action. You're awarded a new car every time you upgrade your license, but you'll find as you complete events that it'll get announced that other cars were seen driving around town, and if you take them out, they'll go to the junkyard, i.e. add to your car collection. So with events, blue markers are races where you're pitted against 5 to 7 other AI-controlled racers to reach the destination. Racers can be taken out to help you gain an advantage, but they always did seem to respawn. You can follow the pack as they choose their route, or if you find one you think is better, you can go for that. The only goal is to be the first one across that finish line. Green markers are stunt sessions, where you have to hit a target score performing drifts and jumps. After time runs out, you're able to keep driving until your combo ends, either by letting the timer fill up without having done anything, or wrecking. The oddity here is triggering your boost for a second will reset the clock, meaning as long as you don't wreck, you can go for a really long time after the clock counts down, which it can be harder than it sounds. Score is given in relatively small amounts, but grabbing big air, smashing a billboard, of which there are 120 in the main game, and doing barrel rolls add multipliers to that, which are often very necessary to hit those later target scores, and often very risky. The other thing that detracts from this a bit, with a possibly infinite driving time and no preset course, you just find that one place you own for stunts and just drive there for every stunt event you begin. There are orange marker events that start a mode called Marked Man, where you must drive to a destination with an endless supply of black enemy cars trying to thrash you. You have no time limit, but remember the 4 crash rule. You'll often want to find a route that takes you by a repair shop to help you keep on the road. These cars are like that final level on Driver on PS1. They're fast with nearly instant boost that's faster than yours, and they seem to spawn from everywhere, like Grand Theft Auto Cops. Dark red markers are road rage, where you have limited time to eliminate a set number of randomly generated racers. Every car you smash on your way to the target number awards additional time for you to keep smashing. The event ends when the timer is up or you yourself get wrecked 4 times. Finally, there are time trials for each vehicle called a burning route that can be started once you have a given vehicle unlocked. These, as they're self-described, is finding a route to one of the destinations and hitting it in under the target time. Not only do these events add marks on your license to count towards completion, but also unlock a second version of that car you can choose from your junkyard. Overall, from a design perspective, having the map be open is a pretty fun idea. With 120 different event start points though, only going to the 8 locations kinda started to make all the events blend together by the time I was working on the final license. Nearly everything except the hot routes are reset every time you upgrade your license too, so not only are you going to the same destinations, but you'll also be starting from the same points if you don't remember which ones you did for the last license. When journeys end on the northwest location especially, and you have to drive for a minute to find the nearest intersection and more events, even more so if you happen to fail the event on your way out there, since there's no event restart, can breed a little frustration. I really did enjoy unlocking new cars by seeing them on the street, chasing them and crashing into them, but the fact you had to wait for it to randomly spawn and drive by you, only showing up when you're not in an event, was a bit annoying. I suppose if you're hardcore searching for collectibles, you'd spend a bit more time in the free burn mode though, so it could work out. I've mentioned the smash points and billboards as collectibles. There are also paint shops, gas stations that refill your boost, repair shops, and a total of 5 junkyards that can be discovered. There are sets of super jumps marked by blue lights that have to be successfully jumped in order to go into your records as well. There are also mini events on each street, including traversing the entire thing in a record time, and a crash mode where you have to reach a target score by propelling your broken down car end over end, causing destruction on civilian traffic for points. There are 64 of each of these styles to complete. There are also a multitude of cars to collect, 75 in the base Paradise game, by crashing them randomly on the street, like I mentioned, and completing events. All in all, there's quite a bit of content here if you're interested in hunting everything down. I will say the soundtrack was a bit of a throwback, hearing 10-year-old pop songs on the radio, as well as the official soundtrack from earlier Burnout games. This remastered game, in addition to providing some higher quality visuals, also contains the DLC that was released for the game, including multiple car packs, and the Big Surf Island DLC, complete with its own events and set of collectibles. There's also an online multiplayer mode that has specific challenges to partake with groups of friends, including 2-player stuff to 8-player stuff. That would be pretty fun if you had a group of friends to enjoy it with. Now that I think about it, I did boot up the 360 version of this a couple years ago to play with a friend after we finished Need for Speed Rivals, which actually was developed by Criterion Games as well for EA, and we just wanted more online racing goodness. Overall, the game's no preset route take on the open world racing genre was a good spin. It did make a lot of the events start to feel the same though. There's significant vehicle selection, lots of content to experience, including smashing things and some impressive jumps. Taking out other racers is always a good time, even when the slow motion replays can ruin your flow at times, and Paradise City itself is a relatively small but fun place to explore. Rated as an open world racing game, Burnout Paradise nets a 67 out of 100 on my genre scale, where 50 means it's just average. This is Giro for Umbra Games. Thanks for watching.